Well, all right, time for another episode of the 12 Days of Christmas Charity. If you don't know what I'm doing, I am picking 12 people on Twitter, online, that I don't think care for me very much, but I actually quite like. And what I'm doing is talking to you about how I know about them and what I like about them, all in the spirit of charity. This is the season of charity. Christmas season, that's right. So today I've got two... Oh, man. I've got two people that I want to mention, and I'll mention them together. The first is whoever runs the ERLC Twitter page, and the second one is whoever runs the Gospel Coaltion Twitter page. In the spirit of charity, I want to say, look, here's the reality. I have no evidence that the Gospel Coalition Twitter page doesn't like me. I have a feeling that they wouldn't if you had a chance to ask. But I do have evidence that the ERLC Twitter page doesn't like me, because the ERLC Twitter page, at one point, whether or not you can believe this, had me blocked. I don't know why. I was never given any warning. They just blocked me one day. And then one day, they unblocked me. So, at one point, whoever ran this page didn't like me very much, but I like them. And obviously, I don't think I have to go into why I know about these people. Obviously, I would know about the Gospel Coalition and the ERLC if I engage in any kind of Christian media online of any form, in any time, in any place. You would have heard about these two organizations. Now, what I like about them, that's what I want to talk about today. What I appreciate about these two is their consistency and their ability to stay on mission. They've got a one-track mind. If you go through their Twitter feed, just scrolling through here, what they do is they share their own articles, which is good. That's what a Twitter page should do. And then they also retweet people that they're associated with, either bloggers that they're associated with or bloggers of bloggers that they're associated with and things like that. And this is literally all they do. All day long, it's just tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet of Gospel Coalition approved materials. It's quite a sight to behold. The ERLC is the same way. You can see they just tweet and tweet. Oh, of course they retweet Russell Moore, because Russell Moore pretty much is the ERLC. And that's what it is. It's just consistent. The ability to stay on mission and undistractable is second to none. What do I mean by undistractable? Well, if you look at their tweets and replies, I'm pretty sure that they never, ever reply to anybody. They've got a one-track mind. I'm tweeting out my articles. I'm gonna retweet my friends, and that's all I'm gonna do. Doesn't matter what you say about me. I'm on mission. I appreciate that level of dedication and consistency. You know, and honestly, listen, there are some organizations that have Twitter pages that mix it up a little bit. They'll reply, and Canon Press, for example, is one of them, and I like that. I appreciate a little bit of a human touch to it. And let's just be honest, there's a very good chance that whoever runs these pages, it's probably a robot. It's probably a machine. And when I say robot, I don't mean like that kind of robot. I mean, like, this is probably an automatic feed, most likely. There was a guy it's probably, so really there's nothing to like about this. The dedication is just because it's a robot, and a robot does whatever you tell it to do. There's no such thing as a dedicated robot. A robot just responds to its programming. But anyway, so there was a guy on Twitter I used to mix it up with back when I first became a believer. He was an atheist, and he had one of these. He had a robot that would basically tweet out a series of tweets every single day, and it was stupid stuff like, I look forward to the day when the cross is next to the swastika in the garbage can of history, and something like stuff that sounds super thoughtful and contemplative and pithy, but it really wasn't. And it just was, he just would tweet it over and over. He wasn't doing it. It was a robot. But then he would respond and mix it up with people too. So it was like half robot, half machine. It was really, or half person. It was really more like a cyborg. And there are some pages that handle it that way, where they do have a human touch from time to time. I like that. I like when people have a human touch to their Twitter feeds. Interesting side note to this story. This guy's name was Flying Free something or other. He got banned off of Twitter because he was horrible. He was the first atheist that I ever saw use the you know, hey, you believe the Bible, then you should drink this poison, this Drano, and, you know, that kind of thing. So he got banned off Twitter, and then he started a YouTube channel. And you would think, for such an outspoken atheist, so powerful, his name was Flying Free, you would think that he'd be bold, but his YouTube channel was basically him on video making all the typical village atheist arguments, but he blurred out his face. It's like, sure looks like you're flying free. So maybe a robot will automatically tweet stuff. But then, you know, there's also a human behind it, too. I like that. Gospel Coalition and ERLC doesn't really do that. So this one is Christmas charity. Is this charitable? I don't know if it is or not. Whatever. But I do appreciate consistency, and Gospel Coalition is on mission. They are going to put forth their nonsense articles with regularity, with consistency. They don't care what you say. No matter how dumb their article is, they're putting it out there, and they're going to continue to do so and retweet everyone else as well. Now, not everything at the Gospel Coalition is dumb, but many things are. Someone pointed this one out to me. Do you remember last week when I made that video about the genius of Gospel Coalition and how they how they basically say, well, the church is bad at this, and then basically what you do is you insert an unexpected source of where you should learn how to do something biblical. Well, obviously this is true. Everybody knows this is true, but someone pointed this out to me from yesterday. Matt Smethurst is just, he's the perfect avatar for Gospel Coalition. Like if Gospel Coalition, the blog, was a man, it would be Matt Smethurst. And here's a prototype. This is how you sound super thoughtful without putting any effort into it at all. This is how you do it. He should have written a blog post. This would have been a really good blog post, but instead he used it for a tweet. Okay. Here's what he says. He says, what's often even harder than weeping with those who weep? Rejoicing with those who rejoice. Imagine if Christians were famous for being this big-hearted. And he basically shows one of the people who didn't win Miss America was so excited that the other one won, and like, you're rejoicing with people who rejoice. Now it's good to rejoice with people who rejoice, and it's sometimes, I used to struggle with this before I was a believer. If someone succeeded and I didn't succeed, I would be really angry, right? Like, this was a very big issue for me. I was a very envious person. But to pretend like Miss America, they got it, and the church that just doesn't have it. Christians aren't famous for this. It's totally preposterous on the face. I know this makes him sound like, this has 286 likes. This makes him sound very thoughtful, like, very insightful. But it's not insightful. This is the formula. You say the church is bad at X, this weird pagan source is good at X, therefore the church should learn from this weird pagan source. No. No, stop it. I see this in churches all the time. People rejoicing with people who rejoice. This happens all the time in churches. The church is not bad at this. But again, Matt Smethurst, if Gospel Coalition, the blog, was a person, that person would be Matt Smethurst, which is not surprising, obviously, because that's what his job is. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope it was funny. I hope it was charitable. God bless.